jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
Hey everyone, I'm Kayla.
This is Sydney.
And welcome back to
The Peanut Gallery.
So this is going to be part 2 of our review / recap of the platform. So stay tuned for the rest of it. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. If you kill someone, you kill that person out of desperation or otherwise, like you did. They did that for a lot of things. Like there was never any accountability. It was always, it's fine that I did that because someone forced me to take action. Like I had to.
And I feel like it's odd that there was really only like 3 characters who had like some type of conscience and morality.
Or like any type of agency at all.
To think what I'm doing is going to affect somebody else. Let's work together and try and decide how we're going to help all of us. There was only 3 people and there was 300 floors.
And we see twice how first we see it with Garang and Mr. T, and then we see it with Garang and Imaguri, which is his second roommate. The first time it's Mr. T telling Garang, the people above won't help you, so don't even try and talk to them. And the second time, we now have Garang telling Imaguri, the people above won't help you, so don't even try and talk to them. And so we see kind of that transfer, and it's like, obviously, this film is commenting on how those that are up top don't have time to look back for those that aren't.
Yeah, or like the longer you're at the bottom, like you're gonna keep getting conditioned to make other people know like this is just where we're at.
Yes.
We're gonna stay here. There's no chance of us moving up, moving down. Even when we do move up, they still have the feeling of being at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Or even a chance to just kind of accept that what you got is what you got. That maybe these leftovers are all I deserve right now because this is the level that I'm at. When really everyone deserves
their rations.
Their rations, but people don't act right. Like, that's just how it is.
And that's why I didn't really like the movie, because a lot of it was just common sense. Like,
it's common sense.
We're gonna treat people right. Everyone does not deserve to starve, and we don't need to be like literally beating each other to death, killing each other over food that we all could find a way to get.
That's so true, but like at the end of the day, it's ridiculous. But it's realistic.
But I couldn't see it. It was ridiculous because I was like, I wouldn't do it. But you can see why people do.
But people do it
because it
now,
happens in society. So it's not like shocking.
Like recently, someone just got killed over a Popeye's chicken sandwich that even if you had to wait a little bit, someone could get it. And so while the movie, it seems ridiculous. It's like, I can't believe people would act like that.
You can't fathom it, but then you can.
But people do act like that. And that's what makes it even more unsettling to watch, because it's like, you know what they're talking about. You know the entire film from top to bottom, what they're trying to get you to understand.
And you could honestly see it happening in real life, because people really do act like that. And I did enjoy them trying to, I do enjoy social commentary. It's just like sometimes I don't like the way it gets delivered, I do understand the fact that this is like they're trying to get you to understand this stuff can and will and has been going on in society.
And another thing I felt was important when he was with his third roommate, Baharat.
The third roommate.
And they finally decide to kind of take on this challenge together of sending a signal, like not even overthrowing the administration, sending a signal to the administration. And we see him go down. We see them use force because they feel like they don't have another choice. And we stumble upon this black man in a wheelchair.
And I think the third roommate was calling him like a wise man.
Yes, a wise man. And he gives them great advice. He's like, first you need to use your intellect to explain to these people why they should do what you're asking them to do. And if that doesn't work, then you use force. But first, there needs to be a message. First, there needs to be something that you're communicating so that you can at least pretend to connect with their humanity. And to keep your own humanity intact, I feel like it's important to acknowledge someone else's. To keep that level.
Or at least if the worst person, like, at least you know whenever they did the bad thing, there was an option to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. They just still chose not to.
While the wise man is talking to them, he's like, and you need a sign. Like, what do you think you're going to be saying to them? They won't care about whatever they were trying to do. He's like, you need to send them back an untouched dish. And I thought that was so smart.
It was.
So smart. Why, you ask? Because the chef, the entirety of the movie, we're checking back in with this head chef.
And they clearly take the food, the creation of the food for the platform.
So seriously.
Very seriously.
So seriously. Like, he's literally taking the hair that he found out of a dish and matching it to people in his kitchen.
Out who is messing up with the quality of the food. And it's like, is everybody like a part of the whole ecosystem of the situation?
It
they
does.
probably
it
have
does
to
beg
work
the
hard
question.
too.
It asks, like, do these chefs even know who's eating their food? Do they know
Honestly.
what the system is like once it goes down?
Because we find out from the second roommate that she didn't even know really
She didn't
how
even
many floors there were,
'Cause
and
she
he
thought there
really,
was
she really
200.
thought she knew.
And she was working for them and still didn't know.
So it's just like I feel like everybody is only really given the information that the administration thinks that they need.
Right. And they decide that the panna cotta is going to be, it looks so delicate. It looks so squishy. We saved this dish, this little butterfly of a dessert, from people who were literally starving, willing to kill to eat, just to show you that this is wrong. It's a message for sure, and I think it's an important one that they're sending, to basically be like, we don't care what we have to do to protect this, to send it all the way back to the top 300 plus levels. You're gonna see that even starving people are not gonna finish this entire banquet just to show you
that we deserve better.
That we deserve better. I can't believe he was only in there to get his degree. The third roommate that he's going down with, Bharat. When they get to they get to the bottom. They pass several dead bodies. They see the woman that was looking for her kid get brutally stabbed to death. And at this point, we semi feel connected to her, even though we know she's a liar.
Because she did save the guy.
Because she saved him. Even though we know she's a liar, even though we know she's a murderer, we feel a little connected, and we see her, just to be quite frank, get turbo stabbed to death. Like, that's literally what happens.
So graphic.
So graphic.
Oh my god.
We passed several other dead bodies. We passed several other platforms. We're steady going down past 200. And at this point in the film, we're like, we thought there were only 200 levels. Like,
and it's literally 300. I think it was 333 was the last
333 level. Was when they reached the bottom.
Which is where we find.
And at the bottom, they still have this panna cotta. And we find
a child.
And he's like, oh my gosh.
It's
not a son.
Right.
Not a son. A daughter. A daughter.
So now it's like begging the question, was she hallucinating, was she not? But
yeah,
there is a kid there.
There is a kid. We don't know if it was hers, but there is a kid. And that kid, it feels like, okay, maybe we weren't lied to the entire movie. Like, maybe everything isn't trash. Maybe it's going to be okay.
There's literally a starving child there all the way at the last floor.
All the way at the very last floor that apparently no one is supposed to be surviving at. You can't even pretend to imagine what she must have been doing to survive at 333 when no food is making it past what seems like level 100. Garang, he's like, hey, we got to give her the panna cotta. And at this point, Bharat, their roommate, he is clinging to this
because that was basically the only thing that was getting him through getting all the way to the 300
He's like, this
level.
is the sign, this is the signal, this is the message, we need it, and he's repeating it to himself like a mantra over and over and over.
Because this is the only thing helping him through this.
Yes. After everything he just seen, this is the only thing giving him hope. And he's like, nah, man, we gotta give her that dessert, like, she's starving. And this kid, she goes all 5 fingers in and she devours it. And I know, watching it, I was like, dang, was all this for nothing?
Yeah.
Like, are they just gonna wake? Right. Like, are they just gonna wake up in another cell on another level?
There was like a fight situation that happened, and both of them were like badly injured, and he had to have like a cut or something on his leg, and he bled out.
So
which was super sad because they really worked together to get to where they got to.
Back, like, in a sense of loyalty and camaraderie that has not been seen throughout the entire movie, and it was.
And to see him go too.
It was devastating, honestly, to see him bleed out like that when he made it all the way to the end. But just when we think that it's about to be a L, he has a dream, a very lively dream. And basically the outcome of the dream is that the girl is the message. It's not the panna cotta, it's not the food. It's this kid that's randomly at the bottom of what is essentially a long dungeon. And she is what needs to be sent to the kitchen. She is what they need to see. Because they mentioned it a couple times, like, maybe everyone doesn't exactly understand what's going on. And so they're like, if we send this kid up, it's going to be a sign
that this is just inhumane and shouldn't be happening, but they should know that.
Yes, that there is obviously something deeper happening than what they may have been told. But then Mr. T comes back, and he's like, talking to Garang, he's saying, you aren't the message. Like, she doesn't need you to take her up there. You need to stay here. We still don't know where here is because they have descended into some...
Literally the bottom. There is
like,
no lower than where they're at. They're like walking on regular flat earth.
Like, it's pitch black. And he's like, she doesn't need you. Just put her on that table and let the platform take her up from there.
And I was so like, it was heartbreaking because
It
was
was
like, he
heartbreaking.
really worked this hard and it's not even about him.
Like, we have seen him go from when he first entered, when he was fighting, and he was like, oh, I'll be fine. I'm just in here to get my degree and quit smoking. We've seen him try and communicate with floors above him, below him, deal with a crazy roommate that tried to eat him, deal with cannibalism, deal with the sane roommate that tried to get through it but just couldn't, like, didn't have the mental capacity, and I don't blame her. I wouldn't either. Dealt with a woman that was looking for a kid that supposedly didn't even exist and then get turbo stabbed to death. We've seen him fight. We've seen him kill. We've seen so much happen.
So for this to end up being a message was like somebody completely different, like outside himself. What?
Yes, like for it to sincerely seem like a moment where it's like, you played your role in this prophecy. Like, you played your role and there is nothing more that you can do. Like, you're inconsequential, basically. Like, you're a cog in the machine. And it kind of hurt to see that, but also was like, I understood, because what was he going to do once he got up there? He agreed to go into this will. It hurt to see that. And he walks away with Mr. T.
So who even knows?
To who knows where, because they're not on a level anymore. We don't know. It's very open-ended.
And then just, I guess, leaves you to think about.
And it leaves you to think.
Everything that happened.
And the final scene is the girl, the kid, the child, snuggled amongst plates and cutlery.
Glass and cutlery and stuff.
Rising towards the top. And we know she's going to get there because the head chef cares very much about that table. He dresses it to the nines. And that's how it ends. Like, we have no idea
if she gets there or not, what they do with the information.
The regular Kayla part of me is like, I want a sequel. I want an ending.
I agree.
I want to know what happened after this. Like, I want to know.
Right.
But the creative side of me is like, this is fair because they're obviously trying to emulate society, albeit in a very dramatic way. Mm-hmm. And society has not ended as of late.
Like, how to end actual world hunger has not been decided.
Exactly. And quite frankly, like, society is going on like this
actually
right now. Like, it makes more sense that
for
it ended
to
like
not
that.
Have an ending.
Because there is no answer. We're still living in a society that is a watered down version of this film. I loved it. I feel like the movie is a must watch. Even if you think you're gonna hate it, I would still watch it.
And more than we talked through it, I don't hate it. I was just disgusted. I like the themes, but I was just disgusted by the way that they like presented it to me.
It is
because it was graphic.
Very
and was
graphic.
nasty.
And another thing, we didn't talk about this. Another thing I really liked is that when he was talking about how people from the top jump down and they kind of commit suicide by jumping down into the hole, and Mr. T was like, it's because you have nothing to wait for at the top. Like, you have nothing to look forward to. He's like, you can eat your fill and you're not starving at all. But once you're up there, it starts to get into your mind. It's like, well, what do I do?
That's deep. Because there are people who are at the top, like,
have everything and aren't happy.
In whatever form of like work career that people have, like, there's like people who are on the top of everything. And we do see suicides like dang near every day. Okay, so that's what we feel about this. I recommend watching 100%. Yes.
If you're okay with graphic situations.
If you're squeamish, don't.
It's good. And
it's good and it should be watched.
If you pick up any other themes or want to talk about any specific scene that we didn't talk about.
If you want to have a discussion about it,
yeah,
let's do it.
Let us know. We will for sure respond. And I just loved it. I really liked it. I was uncomfortable with it, but that made me like it even more. I felt fulfilled that I got through it.
I did too.
Because
I thought I wasn't going to, but the fact that I at least stuck through it with it and saw everybody's like battle with everything.
Yeah.
Morality.
It was important. I have the most questions about the little girl surviving down there, but I hate and love that I don't have the answers.
Yeah.
I hate and love that I don't have the answers.
But that was the platform. Let's have a discussion in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Positive vibes. Have a nice day, night, whenever you're watching this. And we'll see you next time with our next review on a movie or our Insecure series. Bye.
Bye.